let's start with recording, and we're going to go on to here. Cool. All right. So first of all, I just want to say a massive welcome to everyone who's coming in to start with us this week. And yeah, we're going to bring you up to speed. I know a couple of you have already been in to do your sessions today. That's cool. Really good to have you in and to meet you in person. It's just a shame that we couldn't have had the intro beforehand, but got some stuff going on in the background, which is not ideal. That was pretty last minute too. So the purpose of this one is to give you a good understanding of exactly what to expect, and also our expectations of you, and to bring you up to speed with everything related to the different systems that we use, how the training itself works, and how you can maximize your progress with us as we go through, okay? So these are the points that we're going to be covering, and these are exactly the same points. This is literally what I have set up with me every time we do an induction, okay? So we're going to be covering all these points, and the only difference is I've changed some stuff around just because it would make more sense, because one, if you haven't been there before, it wouldn't make sense for you to not see where you're going to be attending, okay? So we're going to go through a brief introduction, where you're actually going to be going, and the actual program itself. We're going to run through the support elements, so how you can get support, and the training itself, how it works, and what you can do to maximize your progress from a training perspective. Then we'll talk through the booking system. I know some of you have already gone through and booked some sessions, and that's absolutely cool. No worries with that at all. And then following that, what we're going to do is we're going to go through Trainerize, how we use that, which is, imagine that as sort of like a glorified WhatsApp, with some extra things that really help us maximize progress. If you follow us on social media, so things like Facebook and Instagram, you'll see the progress that we make. And the reason why we can make that much progress is because we do everything driven by data, okay? We don't go through from an emotional standpoint. We try and remove emotion from everything, apart from joy and pleasure. And all the negative emotions we remove, and then instead we replace that with raw data, and through our different ways of tracking your progress and ensuring you're making the best possible use of your time with us. Not only in the short term, but also in the longer term as well, which we'll briefly cover as well. And then finally, at the end of that, we'll go through a brief Q&A. But like I said, I'll keep it short. And then if you have further questions, you're probably going to ask them throughout the next 8 weeks with us anyway. So let's jump on. So first of all, if you haven't been with us before, this is where we're located. Okay, so our address here, the Claygate Centre, Aldersley Stadium, Aldersley Road, WV6 9NW. A couple of main points, if you haven't been already. First of all, the parking is completely free outside of our pretty secluded building, which is how I like things to be. I like it to be a little bit cruddy on the outside, so don't judge it on the outside, okay? Because what that means is there's no prying eyes on what we're doing, which is perfect, because you come to us to have fun, to get results, and ultimately to not be made a fuss of, to be honest. We don't need other people to know what we're doing, because what we do is what we do, all right? So your privacy is really important to us. That's another reason why in social media, unless we get requests, we'll never put names, faces, etc. on whatever we do. But I'll cover that a little bit more anyway. And so all the training is also conducted there, so both indoor and outdoor training sessions, which I'll cover a little bit more on what you can expect with those two. So that's where you need to head. So you'll see there, that's the basic map. All right, so on the map here, you've got WV Active, Aldersley, this direction down here. This is coming from the Techno Road, and this side is coming from the sort of Stafford Road sort of way. And if you follow this postcode, once you start getting nearer, if you've not been to us before, all you need to do is simply follow signs for the Aldersley Leisure Village. As you come into this one-way system, which is here, okay, you'll see as you come down, you'll have the COVID test center sign here to your right as you drive in off the roundabout, and then to your left, you'll see there's a yellow gate. You can drive straight up, but you're also welcome to park in the center car park here, and also the car park down here. And of course, we have our own dedicated car park there as well. Just want to note on the car park outside of the building itself is on Saturdays, when we do sweat on Saturdays, because we like it to be quite a big event, which I'll talk about a little bit more from a session standpoint, we do generally close off that gate so that we'll have the whole car park to ourselves to just go crazy and do whatever we want to do. All right, so that's basically where we're located. And like I said, if you've got any questions throughout, just drop them in the chat and I'll answer them and get them cleared up for you. But yeah, let's move on. So what is the purpose of our program? All right, so this will be the last 8-week program that we're running. And then from there, we're going to be reducing down to 6 weeks. because what we do is we focus on the basics done well. And what we found is that 8 weeks is what we assumed was the optimal amount of time to get one, maximum results, and two, reinforce the basics being done well. So we don't do anything that we wouldn't do ourselves, first of all, and second of all, we're not selling snake oil. Okay, our results speak for themselves through literally having trained I've trained over 1,000 people, and it's a well-refined process. Controlled chaos, as we'll call it, okay? So let's talk through the program structure itself. So you got 4 key elements to the program structure. So first of all, you obviously have the in-person training. This is clearly our bread and butter, or what most people would assume. And this is where you can come in and you can attend training with us and be coached by a professional. So we remove all the guesswork from everything you're doing. So you literally just have to turn up, tell us that you're all fit and well, ready to go. And we will coach you through the session and make sure you're making maximum progress, make sure your movement's becoming as good as it could possibly be, and we can fix movement very quickly. But more importantly, get you in a team environment where you train with other people who are, motivated, driven, who want to get results, but are maybe just like yourself, who've got a little bit lost and confused with what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, okay? So from a trainer's perspective, that's the main thing that we cover in our program, okay, is the in-person training, which is an education process as well. The next thing as well, unlike what other people do where their personal trainer may, go by the hour, and then occasionally you might have like a check-in with them once a week or something like that. So say, for example, you have 1 or 2 PT sessions with them a week. What we do instead is we provide the whole package, and with that obviously comes coach support, okay? So either myself or Bonnie, and everyone who's coming into this intake is coached by myself, the owner, and obviously head coach of the whole program as well. So if there's something that I don't know, it's not worth knowing. But I'm always open to suggestions and new concepts that I look into and then help deliver as well, okay? And then next one, we have the member site. Now, the member site itself, we'll talk through that a little bit more. But essentially, the member site is where we do the education aspect. So we cover everything related to your nutrition, bring you up to speed on that. So rather than asking at the end of a session, oh, what do we do with this? Instead, what we did was we put a huge portal together of everything related to nutrition, ranging from our sort of 8-point nutrition course to something more in depth where we go deeper into the process, depending on how much you want to learn. All our recipes. So we've got 100+ recipes, breakfast, lunches, dinners, desserts, including veggie and vegan friendly options too. They're all in there, along with some home workouts if you're getting a little bit stuck or bored at home and you want to do some extra stuff. They're all in there, full length home workout videos that you can follow along with yours truly, demonstrating the exercises, and a couple of other little bits in there, like how to set goals correctly, how to adhere to goals and things like that. Just some extra things to really bring up your knowledge, because our intention is at the end of the 8 weeks is that you have all of the knowledge you could possibly glean from someone without being a professional, yet still getting maximum results. So that should you not want to stay on, where statistically most do, then you are more than welcome to leave, part ways on good terms, and have a solid foundation so that you can go forward for the rest of your fitness journey, knowing what you got to do and knowing how to apply that in the longer term. Okay, and then finally, another thing that we do is our weekly Q&As, which are generally held on a Thursday night, but they are subject to change occasionally, where we go through all the big questions from the week. We do it 2 ways, so similar to this, we do it within our Facebook group, which we'll talk about in a second, where we cover all the big questions, as I said before. It could be anything, and also while we're in there, while we're talking through the big questions, if you have further questions, you're also welcome to ask throughout as well, okay? Very friendly environment. That's the main thing that we do, okay? Relaxed professionalism. At the end of the day, we're here to get you results, but be human about it too. So that's how the program works. So 4 key points of the program structure. It's the in-person training, coach support. So for everyone training with me, it'll be myself. The member site, which is going to get a big uplift and ultimately changed to make it really slick and easy to use. And then finally, the weekly Q&As as well. And again, if you've got any questions after any of these slides, just pop them in the chat and I'll answer them for you. That's absolutely no problem. Cool. So let's talk through the support side of things. So first of all, from a general support point of view, what you have is our app called Trainerize. Now, you all should have been added to Trainerize now. If you haven't, pardon me, if you haven't logged onto there, then please have a look in your emails. You should have received an email Saturday morning just gone, basically inviting you to join Trainerize, which is our coaching app. And I'll talk through that a little bit more. Okay, that's your one-to-one link with me. where you can ask all of your questions, and please do things like texts, Facebook messages, Instagram messages, random things like that. They don't help us serve the best purpose. What we use Trainerize for is your intimate connection with your coach, okay? So myself in this instance, okay? And that allows us to have a track record of everything. And we'll talk through all the other nifty little bits it does when we go through the Trainerize section itself. The next thing we've got is the Facebook group. Now, if you haven't done it already, please go ahead and join the Facebook group, because that's where we do our live Q&As. If you're not in the Facebook group, you won't see the live Q&As in there. So please make sure you join it. All you got to do is go on Facebook and search 3P community group, and you'll see that group there. Just request to join if you haven't already, and yeah, we'll approve you in as soon as we can. And then you can ask any big questions in there, celebrate any wins, and just generally sort of have a chat with people in there. Maybe have mutual interests, maybe met someone during a training session who had the same interest. For example, we've got a couple of divers who train with us, a couple of runners. So they actually ended up sort of messaging in the group and having a little bit of a chat through everything. And now they've become friends outside of training, which is what we want. We want that community aspect to be there, because that's hugely important as well. So you don't feel alone on your journey for results. And then if you have any official questions, so things related to billing or any complaints or anything like that, please send them through to customercare@3pwolverhampton.co.uk. The reason why is because, again, if you have a message, let's say a text or a phone call, or like a message sent to, like a passing, query or question on something that's a little bit more serious or sinister, if we don't have a record of it, we'll likely forget, or it won't get followed up with. And we want to make sure that you get the best out of us, okay? So any official questions, just send them through customercare@3pwolverhampton.co.uk, as you see on the screen there. And then finally, from a support hours point of view, so if you send us a question outside of our support hours, which are there, just expect a bit of a delay in reply. I think that's perfectly acceptable. And our general support hours are 8 a.m. through to 8 p.m. So if you send a message during that time, unless I'm coaching, for example, then obviously I won't be replying at 8 p.m. at night. But generally through the day, you'll get a reply within sort of 20, 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. And I'll help you out with the best information. And again, if you send those questions through Trainerize, I have a record. I can make sure that it's left unread once I've read it, so that I can come back to you with the best possible answer. And then support-wise on Saturdays, 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. And then Sundays we've got off, as well as Saturday afternoon, because obviously we have our own bits to do as well. So that's everything on support there. And we'll talk through, like I said before, we'll talk through Trainerize a little bit more and talk through exactly how it works in a sec. So let's talk through the training itself then. So our training is split into two parts. The main element that you need to be concerned about is just making sure you attend 3 sessions a week. Now, before, what we used to say to people is, oh, you must attend 3 small group PT, and then the sweats are extra. But now what we say is, look, if you prefer a certain style, you can attend those only. If you prefer another certain style, you can attend those only. But just bear in mind, okay, so from a small group PT point of view, you get 3 of those a week, and then you can attend every sweat session too. So you essentially have 6 sessions you can attend per week. You only need to attend any 3 type of session to get maximum results, okay? Everything else is just a bonus. But we base all of our results, and I'll show you some results from one of our ex-clients, Tan, who now works with me personally one-to-one and as an online PT client, who's just moved away, and exactly what you can achieve in 8 weeks with just 3 sessions a week. So small group PT, or SGPT, as you'll see on Trainerize, is super simply personal training, but within a group, okay? It's not a class, okay? It's personal training within a group. Okay, so we have a maximum group size of 8. Generally, it's somewhere between 4 and 6, sometimes 8, especially at busy hours. And the training's always full body, with general emphasis on, for example, lower or upper, or whatever it may be. It's always progressive in nature, so don't feel like when you come in, you can't do it or whatever reason. We'll always make adjustments. So if you have knee problems, back problems, shoulder problems, whatever it may be, we've seen it before, we'll accommodate it, and we'll still make sure you're making the maximum progress. Okay, and the key areas that we focus on in the small group PT is developing your strength, your quality of movement, your general ability, okay, so your general physical preparedness, which is how well you can live, and then also the education aspect, which I touched on before, making sure that you are learning what you can do so that you don't, if you did leave us at the end, that's, like I said, there's no problem, that you don't just go back to the gym and just end up, I don't know, walking on the treadmill, doing that usual routine of 20 minutes on this, 20 minutes on that, doing a bit of abs, and then just sacking it off, feeling a little bit underwhelmed and sort of like you've not really achieved that much. Okay. So that's the main aspect, getting you used to resistance training in a fun and progressive environment. And then our other type of session is called sweat, which is a more boot camp style, in slightly larger groups. Okay, it's actually up to groups of 20, but generally it's somewhere around about sort of 10 to 12 in the group as an average. And again, it's full body training, primarily cardiovascular based, but it's still all abilities. Okay, so don't feel like you're going to be absolutely melted because you're outside or anything like that. Okay, it's not that bad at all. It's just a different means of training. You can get more involved, and it's constantly varying. Okay, so we're always having fun with it, doing different challenges, and just generally having a laugh throughout as well. Okay, whilst obviously getting to work hard. For this one, gloves are required, and I'll touch on that a little bit more when we go through the sort of health and safety aspects of stuff, especially with the current situation. But the purpose of sweat is to build endurance through things like high intensity interval training, low intensity steady state stuff, and some intervals, but more importantly, having fun. Again, we can have, because we wear the gloves, which means we can interchange kit a lot more. We can do more team-based stuff, which is really nice because it builds that nice community, and you get to partner up with stuff and, you know, have a bit of a laugh and a bit of a giggle and push each other. So it's a really, really good session to get into. And I'd heavily recommend just, you know, going for it, doing one, and then just going at your level. Okay, we'll always push the group, never the individual. So if you're starting to flag a little bit, okay, so getting a little bit tired, no problem. We're not going to keep pushing you until you're like sick or anything crazy like that. Okay, it's just our sweat boot camp. That's all it is. All right. So please go ahead and book those two. It's good to see them with big attendances, because the bigger the group, the more productive the environment is, the more fun the environment is, especially when we do sweat. Okay. So now that we've talked through the sessions, let's talk through TeamUp. Okay, so TeamUp is our booking system. You all should have now, one, been on the booking system and booked your sessions. If not, let us know either in this or afterwards, and I'll cover any little points that you might need to, you know, maybe be aware of. If you haven't received that invite, let me know and I'll re-invite you in to accept your TeamUp request to join us to use our booking system. So there's three main points with it. Okay, so first of all, you got booking, canceling, and then non-attendance. Obviously, this is a set program. Okay, so it's designed to get results. It's not designed for you to come in casually. That's why we don't do pay as you go. That's why we don't do casual attendance. Okay, we want people to come in to get maximum results. And so with this, we have three key headings we need to make sure we hit every time. So first of all, from a booking perspective, book pretty far in advance. Okay, one, that's going to guarantee you space, but don't go too far because you'll forget what times you're coming in. But you are welcome to book through the entire 8 weeks if you'd prefer to do that. And then once you've booked those sessions, commit to your time. So just like a doctor or a dentist or whatever it may be, you wouldn't, you know, make excuses and not attend. All right. So if you book your session with us, okay, we're there to help you and maximize your progress. So commit to your time. So if you booked in for 6 p.m., for example, attend that time. Okay. And then once you've actually committed to that time, remember to make sure that you're able to arrive 5-10 minutes before, so that you're not jumping out of the car, jumping in, potentially missing the start of the session, because we're getting to the point now where if it's, for example, 6 p.m., if you would walk in 6:05, we're just going to say you can't come in because we've already started explaining the session, everyone else is there, and it's unfair on them, okay? And then just make sure with your first session that it's the first session that you want to attend that on your first week, okay? So if you wanted to start on the Monday and there was a space available, make sure that's the first session you attend on. Obviously, I appreciate, because we've had to remove some sessions, there's been a little bit of an issue with, you know, wait lists and stuff. Still go ahead and book on a wait list. That's no problem. There is always a likelihood of people cancelling last minute and rejigging. That's just what happens. It's natural, okay? But always make sure that the first session that you book on TeamUp is the first one that you want to attend, because we can't backdate. It's very difficult for us to backdate once you've booked later on, okay? Because it's set as a package. So let's talk through cancelling next. So if you want to cancel your sessions, there's absolutely no need to drop us a message saying that you got to cancel, okay? You just go ahead and book, because we track everything, and we'll talk through non-attendance anyway. But cancel it earliest physically possible, okay? Because One, failure to cancel is unfair on others. As some of you may have seen on TeamUp, okay, we are pretty full because people like what we do and they like to attend the sessions. Now, obviously, if you come in and you start booking sessions, but you're not canceling them and you're also not attending, all right, which I'll talk to you a little bit more. It's unfair on others because they're not getting that opportunity to come at that time that they'd like to come, okay? And you can cancel and rebook outside of a 1 hour window. So let's say, again, for example, you're trying to attend the 6 p.m., but you need to change it to, I don't know, 7 p.m., for example, or a different day. As long as you cancel that session, your attendance on that session 1 hour beforehand, you're not going to lose it. If you cancel it 30 minutes before, one, it means that you're not prioritizing this, which again, just like that doctor's or the dentist appointment, okay, you would attend because you made it a priority. We need to make sure that exercise is your priority too, because we want that positive lifestyle change. We want to see you often so we can have a laugh, get to know you, train you, and get maximum results. Okay, so if you cancel that session within that 1 hour window, that session will be lost. Okay, and as a reminder, please commit to your times. Now, finally, non-attendances, okay, it does happen. We track every attendance, one, for track and trace, and two, to make sure that you are attending. If you're not attending, either myself or Tahira will get in touch and ask you what's going on and ask what we can help you with. And obviously, if you have valid reasons, maybe you're sort of struggling because of work, okay, we can give you alternatives. We can help you out with an alternative program that you can do in your spare time. We've handled it all before, okay, and people still get fantastic results with this, all right? So obviously valid reasons are perfectly acceptable, but let us know if you're struggling and we'll try and accommodate you the best we possibly can. Now, if you don't fancy it, okay, let's say, for example, you booked onto a 6 a.m., okay, if you don't fancy it, let's say you wake up at 5 to come in to train at 6, please cancel the session as soon as you possibly can, all right, specifically for the earlies, because again, it's unfair on others, okay, because obviously we have a fair use policy. You only need to attend 3 sessions. That's 3 hours out of your week. There's 168 hours in that week. You can attend. We have a huge timetable, all right, generally. So that's pretty much everything on TeamUp. And again, if you've got further questions, let me know, and I will help you out with those. So let's talk through Trainerize. Okay, so Trainerize is our coaching app, right? And it basically works in 3 different ways, okay? So first of all, as soon as you have accepted your invitation to join, go through and make sure that you have, 1, downloaded the app, okay? 2, completed the consultation form and all of the relevant details. So your body weight, your height, your activity level, sex, etc. And please put them all in, because that allows us to go through and sort your nutrition out, okay? We use a process called flexible dieting, which basically means that all we do is we set you a maximum amount of calories that you need to hit so you don't exceed it, and then a minimum amount of protein so that you're getting that good quality nutrient in there, okay, which is going to help build valuable muscle, which is going to in turn make sure that you can perform better, that you're burning more calories at rest, and ultimately living a better life and having more energy, okay? So we'll only need to track your total calories and protein, right? We're not going to be breaking down how many carbs you have or how much fat, because it's just not relevant and it's not necessary for people. If you're training with us, we train beginners, right? And those who need a little bit extra steer, right? We're not training athletes, so we're not going down to the nitty gritty. And again, in the member site, you can get all this information to help boost that knowledge. So things like the nutrition course, or recipe packs, etc. And obviously we're here to help you out too, okay? So with your nutrition, once you've connected MyFitnessPal, which you'll be prompted to do, make sure you're honest, okay? We want you to track all of your food, not because we want you to do it forever, but because we want to know exactly what you're eating, but also to give you an idea of maybe you put too much on your plate and you don't realize it, or perhaps you think that something's less calories than it is, or perhaps you thought you had more protein. Like I said at the start, okay, we are driven by data, okay, not by emotion. So the more data we have, the more we can see, the more we can address, the more we can help. Okay, so please be honest with everything. And finally, keep things simple. So again, in the nutrition course, okay, you will be told to go through and just keep things simple, all right? So 90% of the time, what we focus on is simple foods, okay, so simple meals, and you can season them up as you see fit. Again, in the nutrition course, we cover it. And then 10% of the time, you've got that, you know, leeway, have your crisps, have your chocolate, have your fizzy pop, whatever you want to do, because we're all human, all right? And 10% of the time is a lot of the time, okay? So 90% of the time, keep things basic and keep it done well. And then 10% of the time, be a little bit loose, but try not to exceed your calories. But again, we'll talk about that in the nutrition course as well. The next thing is the support side of things. So if you need help, Okay, ask when you need it and not when it's too late. It's no good telling me a week later that you're struggling with something when you could just tell me there and then, and we can nip it in the bud. What you might think is a difficult question is probably trivial to myself, and I can give you an answer almost immediately or point you in the direction of a decent resource that's going to help you out, okay? And you're also going to get regular contact from myself, right? So within that, you'll also be added to our coaches group, which I'll put you into there. So again, you're on Trainerize, so you'll see notifications for that. And that's where you can mix with anyone who's coached by myself. Keep it a little bit more intimate and just generally sort of have a chat outside of the Facebook group if you want to as well. And then finally, from a goal setting standpoint, so you got to make sure, like I said before, that you're fully set up. So everything related to your height, your activity levels, your age, etc. Make sure it's all set up. And then make sure you're prepared to make some positive lifestyle changes, okay? We cannot coach people who are uncoachable. So always come in with an open mind, okay? We'll have years and thousands of clients and hours worth of experience, okay? We're here for you to tap into and let us help you throughout that. However, if you have more intimate goals that you want to talk through, or maybe you're struggling with the basic things like not getting enough sleep or whatever it may be, okay, we'll help you with that and we'll give you tiny goals that we can track through Trainerize, especially if you have things like either a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, okay? They really help us with things like tracking sleep, daily activity, etc. Okay, so that's how Trainerize works. And finally, as far as Trainerize goes, okay, you get out what you put in. So if you don't message us, if you don't reply to us, then we can't help you outside of that, okay? We will get in touch with you as much as we possibly can. We can book phone calls to talk through things if you're really struggling with stuff and get you that maximum progress. But if you're not asking questions on things like nutrition, if you're not asking for that support, and if you're not helping us develop your goals, your mindset, okay, you're not going to get the maximum from this program, right? So hugely important that you get out of this what you put in. Cool, and that's that one. So let's talk about how you actually measure progress. So first of all, from a progress point of view, all right, so what we ask for is the scales are almost completely irrelevant. We want to know your body weight just so that we can track your calories and work out from there. But everything else, how we measure progress is through body stats, okay? So front, rear, and side facing pictures, which I'll show you beforehand. After this, and then also 5 measurement sites. We also measure your progress based on your clothes, so how they fit and feel, so you can feel that progress too. And then finally, like I said before, your body weight as well, okay? So what you need to do from a track and progress point of view is on day 1, day 28, and at the very end, you need to do your front, rear, and side facing pictures, which I'll show you. And you also need to do your measurements at that point too, which I'll show you in a second as well. Your body weight should be updated every week, because if your progress starts to slow down, that's one of the first things we'll look at and adjust things as required. But like I said, we'll always go back through the others first. So your pictures, we'll ask you to redo pictures, redo measurements, wear the progress clothes, etc. Then we'll maybe adjust calories. But generally, we try not to adjust your calories once they're set. Okay, it is an educated guess, but we can adjust as needs be. And there's an example here. So this is Tan, as I mentioned before. So she's next client, now currently working with myself, doing online PT. She committed for 8 weeks, and in that 8-week period, okay, she's very open about this. She lost just over 2 dress sizes, but obviously officially it's 2 dress sizes. She lost 28 pounds. Her bloating and fatigue was completely gone. And again, like I said before, this was shared with permission, okay? So these are the sort of results you can expect in that period. Obviously varies from person to person and also your individual abilities, okay? Cool. So next one. So this is how you actually measure your progress. So your front, side, and rear facing pictures, okay, they should be done and put into Trainerize, okay? These aren't shared with the public. We've got our case studies. We don't need any more. They'll never be shared with anyone else, okay? So by all means, put them in there and track them, okay? Because it gives us something that we can compare your progress with throughout. And then the second thing is measurement sites. So what we're using here is this Tracy again, who I train online only. She's been training with me now for about sort of 8 months, and she's made huge progress, like monumental progress, and she kindly demoed these pictures for us ages ago, okay? So we use them a lot. So measurements wise, what you need to do is measure your dominant side, okay? So your dominant calf in the middle area of the calf here, okay? And then mid thigh here, across your waist, okay? So where your belly button is, Okay, we don't bother with hips because it's too inaccurate. And then chests, well, okay, so across the nipple line, right? Ladies with a bra on, please. I know people do ask about that one. Okay, so generally across the nipple line, and obviously measuring the whole circumference of the body. And then finally the upper arm as well, okay? There's also a video that you'll get prompted to watch through Trainerize, which will show you how to track, how to do your measurements in person so you can actually see that walkthrough of how you do those, okay? And like I said before, pictures and measurements should be done every 4 weeks or every 28 days. So for example, today or in the coming days, as soon as possible, really, so you can see that big progress. And then every 4 weeks from now. Okay, so that's how we measure progress. Just go on here. No, good, cool. Right, so unfortunately we can't do a quick session demo, but essentially what I'd do is I'd walk you through how the sessions work. It's no problem. It just gives people a little bit of sort of like putting your mind at ease for those who are a little bit concerned with COVID, but we have very strict policies in place, but still keep it pretty relaxed as well. So all we do is just talk through how sessions run, and how you can, you know, get the most out of it while sort of staying safe in some respects, but more importantly, how a session structure would run. But it's very straightforward. Okay, we always, you know, introduce the session, deliver a warm-up, go through the main body of the session. We clean down all equipment individually at the end, and then we have a stretch off. Okay, we do that every session. All right, that's what our promise is to you. Okay, and we keep it as safe as possible, give people way more than the minimum required as far as COVID guidelines go. And again, when you come in, if you haven't been in before, you'll see that anyway. So, who's got questions? If you do, let me know. Okay, I'm going to stay in here for a couple of minutes. I've not had any questions so far. That's no problem. If you do have questions on things, let me know, and I'll run through them. If not, then ask them privately through Trainerize or in the Facebook group. But make sure that you're in those when you get into them, okay? And start asking you questions, all right? We will help you the best we possibly can if we get questions, if we get, you know, requests for more information or requests for resources. We'll make things for you. We'll do whatever we need to do to help you make maximum progress, all right? There is no limits to what we can deliver as long as it's reasonable, okay? The only thing we can't do is slap food out of your hand from going into your mouth and dragging you out of your bed to make sure that you're attending sessions or whatever time you come in, okay? That's the only things we can't do. We can do everything else for you. And that's it. So I'm going to stop sharing that now. And we'll run through any questions. In fact, what I'll do is I'm going to unmute everyone. So does anyone have any quick questions that you want me to run through before I stop this one and send you on your way?
No, I'm good.
Awesome. No worries. Annika and Deepika?
No, I found it really useful, thank you.
All right, awesome. Okay, like I said, if you do have questions on anything, please ask, all right? The best thing you can do is ask questions, all right? We'll cover everything, all right? We are literally here within reason to bend over backwards for you, okay? Because we want you to come in and we want you to get the best possible result from us, okay? For two reasons. One, because we want to educate you, and two, we want to show you how good we do things so that you know, maybe want to stay on. If you don't, like I said, there's no hard feelings. We have many people who come through, do their 8 weeks, and we part really good ways. I'm still in contact with a lot of people who train with us and help them out in the background as well. All right, but if there's no other questions, I'll leave you be for the rest of the night. Massive apologies again for Saturday with you guys not being able to attend. That was a complete anomaly. Never happened before. It was just unavoidable. So I do apologize for that. The other alternative was that you were going to be sat there with workmen walking around, which is not ideal, and hearing loud banging and stuff. All right. So that's it from me. Have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to seeing you all in the coming days and seeing your progress as well. All right. So have a good one, and I'll speak to you again very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.